Hi friends, I hope you are doing great. I would like to thank you for sticking with me through my White Christmas tutorial series. Today it's the time for the last 25th project. I will be making a pop-up card, very simple on the outside, but of course with a surprise waiting for you inside the card. This little desktop scene is about writing some letters to Santa, so let's get started and see how it's done. I have pre-cut and pre-folded a card base out of craft cardstock, and I have created a double fold that is 1/8 of an inch deep so that I can add some bulk inside the card. Next I'm going to use some dark brown ink. I'm using Walnut stain here and go around all the edges on the outside as well as on the inside of the card. The card itself is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, by the way. So this is what the project looks like at the moment with all the edges inked. Next I'm gonna use a Woodgrain embossing folder by Sizzix. I'm opening it up and applying some Walnut stain Distress Oxide ink on both sides of the folder. Then I'm going to place one side of the card base inside the folder. I'm closing it up and then I'm going to send it through the die cutting machine. This way I'm going to have some color and texture on the outside as well as on the inside of the card. This folder is actually double-sided. Now I'm going to repeat the same process and emboss and color the other half of the card base. So this is how I created the wooden card base, and now I'm going to do some stamping and make some images to create a scene inside the card. I'm going to combine the stamps by different producers, and most of them are not even seasonal. The first one is going to be this pencil holder by Team Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. I'm stamping it with black ink. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black. I do the stamping twice whenever I need darker lines. I'm going to need 2 of those images for my project, so I'm repeating the process. Then I will set the stamped image aside and do some die cutting. I will be using this coffee cup pop-up die set by Burniston to create my pencil holder cup. I have die cut the image out of patterned paper. Now I'm placing the lid die on top of it and I'm tracing the line to be able to trim off the top because I'm not going to need the lid for this project. By the way, this die also creates 2 notches for holding a gift card, and it also creates some crease lines. So I'm folding along those crease lines, applying some adhesive only at one flap, and assembling the cup. That is pretty simple. Now I'm gonna go back to my stamped images and do some coloring. I'm going to color all the pencils with markers. I'm using different colors of distress markers. I'm only going to use the top part of this image, so there is no need to color it all the way to the bottom. I'm not doing any shading because it is already created by these sketch lines on the image. Then I'm going to cut out top parts of both images using the scissors. By the way, I'm using 2 stamped images because my die cut cup is larger than the stamped one. So now I'm applying the glue at the bottom of the image and I'm sticking it down inside the cup. I'm placing the first image closer to the left edge and the next one closer to the right edge. This way the entire image is going to look natural. At this point I have decided to add some shading to the cup, so I'm placing the lid as the mask and then I'm applying some Walnut stain Distress ink like that. I have also used 2 circular dies from the set to create this label for the cup. I'm stamping the small center image onto the circle, and then I'm going to color it with markers pretty quickly. The stamp itself is by Gummiapan, a Swedish producer. Then I'm also going to color the background with the Ground Espresso Distress marker, the darkest brown one. And by the way, Swedish House Crafts online store has a special offer for you, so if you would like to know more about it, please visit my blog. To assemble the label, I'm applying some liquid glue onto the circle and sticking it onto the larger scalloped circle. Then I'm applying the glue only in the center of the circle and sticking it to the cup. This way it will be easier to bend. The die set includes this doily die that is holding the cup, but I'm going to do it differently because it's not a coffee cup this time. So I have trimmed the tabs to make them shorter. Then I'm applying the glue and I'm going to fold them inside the cup like that and stick them down. Now I'm gonna do more stamping to create more images for the scene, and the next one is this layered chocolate bar by Scrappiness. It is a 3-layer stamp, and I'm going to use 3 shades of brown to create the chocolate bar image. Here are the ones that I'm using. They are Memento Peanut Brittle, Rich Cocoa, and Espresso Truffle. I'm starting with the lightest shade and moving on to the darkest one, just as usual. Then I'm also going to stamp the wrap using 3 shades of gray, or it's better to say 2 shades of gray and the black ink. Those stamps are very easy to align because the image is pretty geometric. I have also stamped one extra chocolate piece, and now I'm going to cut out both pieces with the scissors. Again, they are very easy to cut out because it's almost a rectangle. Then I'm going to take the smaller chocolate piece and I'm going to separate the smaller rectangles. When you are creating the scene like that, it's always convenient to have some smaller elements to fill in the space when needed. I'll be using some stamps from Naughty Christmas set, also by Scrappiness, to create a couple of letters or notes to Santa. One of them is saying, "Dear Santa, last year I asked for a fat wallet and thin body. Try not to mix those up again." Which is so true. To create the letter shape, I'm going to use this die set, which is called Old Tags. It includes 4 dies. There's also one larger one, but that one is sold separately. So now I'm going to use the 2 smallest ones to cut out the letters. The dies are going to create the tattered edges, which is exactly what I'm looking for in this project. I'm using black soot to go around the edges of the tags, as well as around all the edges of the chocolate bar and all the smaller chocolate pieces. To turn the tag into the letter, I'm trimming off the tag end and I'm curling up the edge around the wooden skewer outwards. This way I'm gonna hide the trimmed line. I'm also curling up the opposite corners outwards for a more natural look. Then I'm opening up my card and I'm going to attach the chocolate bar first because it is the largest image. I'm using the foam squares to mount it. It's always more convenient to move from the largest images to the smallest ones. The next largest image is this note, and I'm also attaching it to the desktop using the foam squares. Then I'm moving to the smaller one. And finally I'm going to use the small chocolate pieces as space fillers. Again, I'm using the foam squares to mount them. All this little scene is going to take up the space in front of the pop-up pencil holder, and the back side is going to be for the personal message. I've die cut this tag using the second largest die from the set. Now I'm attaching the twine and also applying some double-sided tape and sticking down the tag. I'm trimming off the ends and then I'm going to move on to creating the front of the card. This time I'm going to use the largest tag from the set. I have actually used all 4 tag sizes for this card. Next I'm going to quickly decorate the tag on the front of the card. So I'm stamping the mid-size center image and I'm also going to stamp a sentiment. Then I will do some quick coloring just like I did on the inside of the card. I'm going to keep the outside of the card extremely simple because all the fun here is happening inside the card. I am attaching the twine and then I'm going to stick this tag down onto the front of the card. I will try to attach it flat. I'm not using any mounting tape because I want the card to lay down flat on the surface when you open it up. If you use mounting tape, then one side of the card will be lifted up. This is what the finished project looks like, and as I mentioned, there are 2 notches at the back side of the cup, and you can insert the gift card just like that and send it to the recipient. This also finishes the White Christmas series for this year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had as much fun watching as I had creating those projects. Have a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful and bright New Year, and I hope to see you back really soon, because although the series is over, the card making never ends. Take care!